This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, and today we're going to focus on what we should be doing in email marketing right now during these turbulent times. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better, then I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Now, I actually recorded the intro to this podcast last week, just after I got off the interview with Sarah. I sat down and recorded an intro because I like to remember what I talked about. However, there's one problem. In just the last 5 days, so many things have changed that I felt like I just needed to re-record the intro. It really does feel like things are changing on an hourly basis. I mean, just since I recorded that intro, all of the gyms have had to shut down. Funerals have been limited to 10 people. You can't have barbecues and social gatherings in your home. And just today, beauty salons have had to close down. But here's the thing. I think this is, well, I'm not going to say a blessing in disguise, but I think when life gives you lemons, you have to make limoncello, okay? Don't worry about the lemonade, let's go for the hard stuff, especially in these turbulent times. And here's the thing, right now, this is an opportunity for every independent retailer out there to leverage what they've built. You have a customer base who love what you sell. Now is the time to connect with them. And for all those people who've never heard of your business before, customers are dying to support local business. They go to big box and grocery stores because they have to, but they shop at stores like yours because they want to, okay? So this is where you need to be pulling out all of the shops, pulling out all of the stops and get your marketing mojo back into gear right now. I'm going to be brutally honest and tell you that when I first opened my stores, I think it was about 12 or 18 months in, Australia hit La Niña, which is when it rains all the time, like all of the time. And I had a store that sold baby stuff for brand new babies and for pregnant women. And I wasn't in a shopping centre, I was just on a street. So that meant that you couldn't just park and walk into the centre with your baby and know that you could shop at lots of different places. If it was pouring down with rain, you had to get the baby out of the car, you had to pop the umbrella up, and you had to walk into the store. Nobody wants to take their baby out in the rain. Nobody wants to schlep a great big pregnant belly around in the rain. And I did it really tough during that time. And also remember, if you don't already know, this was during the global financial crisis. So it literally felt like, why do I bother? Like, why did I do this thing? There were days when I wouldn't even see people in the store. If it had been like terrible weather, people just wouldn't come into the store. Now, I was lucky because I opened my e-commerce store back in 2007. So we still did have some money coming in, but it was a really, really difficult time. And during that time, I fell into what I call the negativity vortex. That place where you blame everybody and you think that there's no way out and why should you even bother? And, I'm not ashamed to say now, I was in that place quite often and for a very long time. I actually remember being on the phone, I'm pretty sure it was with Elizabeth, who now works with me, and saying, I am sick of hearing myself whinge. And that was the catalyst. That was the point where I just decided no more. I had to take action. So I am sure that right now you are feeling like you are being pummeled from all directions. Here in Australia, the schools have they haven't closed, but they've sent all the kids home. And I know that most of my friends and retailers in the US, that's already happened to them. people are going a little bit stir crazy. And it is okay for you to just take this time and take a few breaths and take stock of what's happening in your life, okay? You fully have permission to do it, but don't fall into that negativity vortex. This is a really good time for you to look at your business and see what works well and what doesn't. If you have a little bit of time right now, do you need to brush up your e-commerce store? Do you need to create an e-commerce store? Do you need to maybe go and program a whole bunch of emails into your email management system? Do you need to finally set up those flows in Klaviyo that I've been telling you to put together for the last God knows how long? What needs to be done? Do you need to do a stock take or an inventory of your product? Now you have a little bit of breathing space. Maybe you don't. I've got a friend who works for a brewery and they've never really done e-commerce sales. I mean, they have an e-commerce website, but mostly they supply direct to liquor stores. However, they have seen unprecedented demand for people buying alcohol right now. And look, I can totally understand why. That's why I said make limoncello out of your lemons rather than lemonade, right? They have actually had to put staff on during this crisis. Now, I know that if you've had to close your shop down, that's probably not what you want to hear. But this is the time when we'll find out who the survivors are. Who are the people who let this wash over them and come back bigger and better and stronger and more connected with their customers? But if you are whinging right now, if you are trying to play the blame game, the whole world is in this together. Never before has this happened. The whole world is going through this together. So there's no one to blame. There's no point in whinging. You just have to get clear on what you want. Have you heard my mantra before? It goes goals, focus, specific action, results. And that's what I want you to do right now. I want you to have a goal. Maybe your goal is just to get through this day. Totally okay with that. You get to set your goal. But you have to focus. So maybe your goal is, realistically, I just want to send out one email this week. So you focus on making that the best email that you can. And then you take specific action. Instead of doing 52 chores around the house, which probably need to be done, I want you to focus and take action. Take specific action to get you towards that goal. And when you do, results follow. It's kind of that simple. These goals that you have, the focus, the specific action, right now, they don't have to be huge. They just have to be something. They just have to be putting one foot in front of the other so that you do not fall into that negativity vortex. And if you find yourself slipping, I want you to come and join us over in the Retail Academy. It's my free Facebook group. I want you to put your questions there, ask for some help, ask for some guidance, and we will all jump in and give it to you. I'm in there multiple times a day at the moment. My team is in there, and there's some amazing retailers who've been through a lot before who are welcome to share their strategies with you. So just type in the Retail Academy in Facebook. It is totally free. Now, before we jump into today's episode with Sarah, where Sarah and I get into what email marketing looks like right now in the current circumstances, I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you don't already follow me on social media, mostly Facebook, that's pretty much where I hang out, or you're not on my email list, make sure that you do, because starting next week, I'm going to be hosting a series of free lunch and learn sessions. So these are sessions that I would normally charge for you to attend. They're usually the sessions that I do in person, but I'm going to be running a series, I think maybe 3. Look, I haven't nutted it out. I'm still getting it all together, which is why I'm saying next week. So probably the end, maybe Thursday or Friday, Australian time next week. But please, if you aren't already following me or on my email list and you want some help, some guidance right now, I'm going to be giving you these actionable strategies. These are literally workshops that I run. They'll go for, I'm going to condense them down, so maybe like 30 minutes, and then I'll be around for 30 minutes Q&A. So put aside 45 to 60 minutes, and then you can come along. I'm going to do them live, so you can interact with me. You can ask your questions. We're going to start with email marketing. So if that's something that you're interested, as I said, make sure you're either on my email list or you're inside of our Facebook group, and you will get the invitation to come along. So if you haven't already, search for the Retail Academy over on Facebook. You'll have to apply to join our group. We don't want any spammers in there. Usually takes about 24 to 48 hours for us to go through and add people in, but come and join us over there because we are all in this together. Okay, so let's jump into today's episode. I only recorded this at the end of last week with Sarah Mcintyre, where we talk about what email marketing looks like in the current retail landscape. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode where we are going to be talking all about email marketing in the current climate. And I have Sarah Mcintyre from Bright Inbound Marketing. Is that right? Have I said it right?
Yes. Yep, that's
awesome.
Correct.
And we're going to have a chat about what we should be emailing right now and who we should be emailing to. So welcome, Sarah.
Hi, how are you? Good.
I'm good. Do you know what? I'm going to be forthright and say I literally, just before we came on this podcast, I put a post on my business Facebook page that said, please, it says, dear everyone, please only email me if you are not encouraging more hand washing, social distancing, and more improved cleaning in your business. Because it feels like 11 billion people have just remembered that they have an email list.
I know.
And they're all copying and pasting the exact same email.
I know. And it's interesting you say that because we've all got an inbox full of, what we're doing, for COVID-19. It's like, okay, well, that's great what you're doing, but what are you going to do for me?
Me, exactly. None of this is about me.
Yeah, so it's like, delete, which is what you do, with inboxes, email newsletters. But I think the opportunity is here to be much more empathetic and think about what are we going to do? What are we doing for our clients? What can we do for our clients and our community in this time to help them and just be a bit more understanding, even if it's just to set up a community chat WhatsApp group or Slack channel just to kind of talk through the incredible changes that have happened in the last week.
It feels like it's just changing on like a daily basis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to do two things at once and find this email that I just got from a restaurant in Australia called Mexico, and they do own several, but it was actually a really cool COVID/email. And it was all about, it basically said, the first line was, we're doing all the things that you expect us to do. If you really want to read about it, click here.
Yeah.
And then it went on to say, however, we've also got $10 margaritas. We'll make sure that you sit 1.5 meters away from the next person if you really want to. And I was like, OMG, how many days in are we? And this is the first fun email that I've actually seen. And it was bright pink and it was flashing. And I was like, I will read your email. And now I want margaritas.
I know. So they are a welcome visitor in your inbox.
So much so, yeah.
So they're a welcome visitor in your inbox. So you'll open the next one that you get from them. And I think that's the hardest thing for email marketers, is to build up that relationship and to build up a reason for looking forward to receiving those emails. I know I get a couple of emails that are every week or every fortnight there's a few sources that I read and open every single time, and that's because I know, like, and trust them, and their emails are helpful, or they're funny, or there's something delightful about those emails that I look forward to receiving them. And they're the types of emails that I hope that they're the best practices really for people who are looking to put really use email marketing. And email marketing is still incredibly effective as a tool in your chest, and it's so maligned in many ways. People overlook it. People think it's old school. They're not doing it anymore.
That's because it's done wrong, right?
I know, it's done really slipshod, and no one cares about the subject lines, and it's done in this kind of offhand manner, like, oh crikey, we've got an email blast. I hate that word, to blasting our whole database right now.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, please don't do that.
Yes.
So I think the thing is and we were talking earlier about this opportunity really, and I'm kind of excited about what the current situation has forced us into doing, which is slowing down, really focusing on the things that are more long-term and sustainable for your business, and making and kind of obsessing over the detail, making it really good. Like, writing it once, then rewriting it again. Ask yourself, so what? So what for the customer about that email? Why should they care? After every sentence, even really obsess over the so what's in the communication piece, and also make it like a letter. I think that's used to receive pen pals.
If you're old school like us,
really old school like me. I had a pen pal, and receiving an actual letter from a friend is tremendous. And I think if you put that kind of thinking into your communications with a friend, like the Mexico restaurant did, said, you know what, we're doing everything we need to, but we also have this. It's just, it's how you would speak to a friend.
It is. I've just actually found it, and it does say, we are still open and it is a haven away from all the madness right now. We've changed our policies around the staff and customer safety, but we also recognise that you might want to eat great food and live a little. So if you're feeling well, come and visit us for $10 margaritas at any time of day.
Perfect.
I know. Like, it just makes me want to go there.
Breakfast margaritas. All right. I can do that.
And then it goes on to say, we're also we're bringing out a takeaway menu. So they are totally pivoting. And I'm seeing that quite a lot with lots of restaurants and cafes, because their trade is down. That's not what we're here to talk about. But it just goes to show that if these restaurants and cafes don't have an email list, they're relying on social media to get their post out there, and they're relying on the few customers that they have to go and share it into groups. And sometimes that's effective and sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, I'm a massive advocate for building your community and platform on a platform that you own, like email. You own that, and you're not affected by changes in algorithms or whatever happens on Facebook or LinkedIn or Insta or whatever. You don't want to build a foundational piece on. It's like building a house on rented ground. So you want to actually make the effort to build your own email database and nurture it and show up consistently, not just show up once a year and talk about COVID.
And what you're doing about it.
And what you're doing about it for you. It's like, great, and delete that one. That was awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about how we can be marketing right now. Given the fact that the situation that we're in, it's probably not going to change for the next, they're saying 6 months, but let's be honest, I think life will kind of go back together in 6 months. But I'm saying for the next 6 weeks, this is all people are going to be focusing on. So how do we cut through that noise? How do we actually, you know what? You want to see our inbox. You want us in your inbox because this is something you want to read. If I'm an e-commerce brand or a retail brand, how do I get people to look at my emails and to open them and to get them to buy?
I know. It is a tricky time, and I think a lot of people their headspace is going to be so filled with other concerns, above and, more close to home concerns. So
can I get toilet paper?
Yes, exactly. It's very close to home, actually.
Yes.
But no, people are very stressed. It's financially stressful for a lot of people. So I think you need to be careful with the way that you market and the things that you promote, and just be more empathetic. And I think you can just switch up the messaging and the way that you talk about things to be more empathetic about where people are at, instead of being really salesy. And I also think that works long term too. I don't, I think that's I think a long term good practice is to really come from a place of understanding your customers' challenges, their pain points, how your solution works best for them, what kind of transformation they go on when they use your product or service, what other people have found useful. Case studies are always good. Compare, contrast. That type of simple storytelling is really really compelling and interesting, I think.
Have you seen anything good come into your inbox in the last few days where you've just thought, gold bonus, like that, my Mexico one? I'm actually going to screenshot that and stick it into the show notes so people can see it.
I've been looking at stuff, some LinkedIn stuff. It's been quite good, and I'm just impressed by people who are able to pivot, who are pivoting quickly to delivering their service in a different way. And so, like I take part in a meditation group, and they've pivoted really quickly from doing group face-to-face in the room meditation to doing Zoom calls.
So now, our yoga studio has done that. They just today started live. They've created a closed Facebook group, and they are live streaming all the classes into a Facebook group.
Yeah. So this happened this week too with my meditation class, and it was fantastic because not only were people, the regulars who normally going, but people from all over the world were joining this meditation group and then having a bit of a chat afterwards as well, and getting some kind of, some support and community out of that. So, they're building a lot of long-term global goodwill out of their existing email database from people that could never come in to the actual studio to do that group session.
So how did they communicate that via email?
They actually sent quite a few emails because they were kind of getting backwards and forwards, but they just sent a very simple letter just from the owner of the meditation school. Sent a simple letter out saying, I know people have been asking you this before. I'm sorry for not paying attention earlier, but we're going to go do this now.
Wow.
And this is how we're doing it. And just like that, it was off and running.
And isn't it funny that an email like that can make such a big difference? Because like you said, right back at the beginning of the conversation, it's not about the meditation school or the yoga school or the gym.
No.
It becomes about you. It's like, wow, this is how it's going to help me.
Right.
And this is one of the things that I think it's very hard to get lost in, especially when you fall down that whirlpool of looking at what other people are doing and you're like, oh, XYZ big brand does this, I should be doing that.
Yeah,
and I should be doing that. And as a result, you end up with this kind of mishmash of stuff.
Yeah.
Last week we had on the show Julie from Flora and Fauna, and she was saying one of the reasons that their business has grown so exponentially is because they knew what they wanted to be and who they wanted their people to be. And they knew what their purpose was. And as a result, in just a few years, they've gone from like this to whoop. So they're so true, and they communicate that. So like you were just saying with that email, when it becomes about the customer, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want to open those emails.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also comes down to really having a deep understanding of who your customer is. Like Lady from Flora and Fauna said, if you can really hone in on who your people are, and that and do interviews. I mean, I've recommend actually going and interviewing customers and talking to them about who they are, about how they found you, about what challenges they face. I mean, I come from a B2B marketing background, so like a long sales cycle thing. So decisions take a long time, have multiple stakeholders and stuff. So you can dig right into that whole process. But even just simply asking people, what's your number one challenge with blah, whatever your product and service is right now, is really helpful. And leave it as an open. If you're going to do it as an online survey, do it as an open-ended question, so they just write. So you're not preempting any. If you did it as a drop-down thing, then you're preempting.
You're giving them the answers that you want to hear. Yeah,
exactly. And you don't want that. What you want is for them to tell you in their own words what their challenges are.
So why do you think people struggle so much with having that conversation? I know that in our retail stores, my team always had to call 3 customers a week. That was it, just 3. Yeah. Randomly pick 3 customers that you had served in the last week and just have a conversation with them. Yeah. And just see how are they going with the product? Did they have any suggestions? How was that? And it wasn't a peppered question kind of thing. It was like, hey, it's Sal here. I was just ringing. You came in last week and I just wanted to follow up and see how you're going with your XYZ products. Do you have any questions? Because when you talk like that, people don't feel like you're interrogating. Why do you think people are so afraid of
it's such a good question.
Asking?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think maybe they feel like they're going to get bad news.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I think customers really appreciate it and really surprised that you've taken the time to call them and just to understand a little bit better about their challenges and also about, what could we do better? Because then when you ask what could we do better next time, often it bubbles up incredible ideas that you would never have thought of yourself.
Yeah, sometimes they're very, very random things. Like I remember one person had said, one of the things I loved was you opened the door for me because we had a baby shop and most people had strollers.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, I just love the fact that you came and opened the door for me. And we were like, that was kind of common sense. That was something we always instilled in our team. But for that customer, it was game changing.
I know, yes, but it's so helpful and empathetic. It's a mom, she's got a stroller. It's like, how hard that is when you're juggling. It's like, there's little things. They're super important. I think that's great that your team actually went and did that step because most businesses don't do that at all. And they're missing a massive goldmine of information. And from there, you can get your messaging. There, you can get your tone. There, you can get what promotions and offers to give them, whether they care about free shipping or not. Ask your customers.
Yeah, it's not that hard, is it? Like just pick up the phone. Whenever whenever in our business now, whenever we have somebody who wants to cancel a subscription, by no means do we have any issue with that, but we always make the effort to give them a call and just say, why? You know, like, is there something that we didn't deliver for you? And we've had some feedback. Some people say, I found the menu's quite hard to navigate. And we're like, oh, okay, well, we need to look at that. Like if you found that a problem, other people, it's just simply, there's some stuff going on in my life that I just can't devote the bandwidth. So it's not always about you. Sometimes it's, a lot of the time it is about your customer. It's not about you. But that constructive feedback, like we thought our menus were so simple, but somebody else found them really difficult. And we're like, oh, okay, we need to find somebody to walk through the menus and see where they're getting confused because we want the easiest, simplest user experience possible. So I remember hearing, I think it was Steve Jobs, and they only used to take negative feedback on board. So when they send out Apple surveys, they just delete all the good stuff. They don't care about the good stuff.
Right.
All they care about is what can they fix for the customer experience.
Right. Well, yeah.
So maybe we should all adopt that and not take it personally.
Yeah, I think that is, and I think, people are concerned about taking it personally or maybe being a bit defensive. You've invested a lot in your systems and processes, and it's hard to hear when people don't experience it the same way. But I think it's great to be open-minded about it and take it on board and see if you can keep improving but you have to keep improving. You have to keep up with the changes in the world as well as the changes in your customer base, and it's constantly an evolving thing. So I would recommend talking to your customers all the time, and then figuring out a way to capture that information. So when I work with clients, we just do simple little Google forms, Google forms, and then you can just type in the insights. So the sales rep or the customer service rep at the end of the day can go, what insights did you learn from customers today? What context did they come in from? And they capture them in. And then at the end of the week, we can have a look at them in the sales meeting and go, so you're not in your sales meeting going, these are the numbers, blah, 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 but you're also going, and this is the insight that we got in having all these conversations with prospects during the week. These are the insights that we got about how our product is resonating in the market. Where are we stumbling? What are the objections or the pushbacks, or where are we doing well? That's the type of information that is in your reps' heads, but the business has to get it out and into some kind of system so we can analyze it and make changes and improvements. Not just in our marketing, but in our products as well.
You said earlier that this is a really good time to slow down. So given that some people may have some extra time on their hands right now, or, not that we ever like to have that, but what do you suggest that they start to do? Like, are you suggesting segmenting our email lists? Like you've just said, go and talk to your customers. So now's the perfect time to do that.
I think that's the perfect time to do that. So go and talk to your customers. Maybe do a little online survey if you like, first up, but then also go and talk to some customers too, and start capturing that information in a spreadsheet or in a Word document or wherever you want to capture it. And then, have a look at, building out, changing your messaging if you need to change your messaging based on the information that you're getting from your customers. If you need to kind of tweak your messaging to be a bit more customer centric. Particularly, I work with a lot of technology companies, and then 9 times out of 10 their messaging is all about them
and product
feature widget signing anyway technology stuff, and not about, so what does it do and why does the customer care. So really have a solid look at your messaging, and then I would start maybe putting together and resurrect your email newsletter and have a look at that email newsletter and make it work better for you, and try and nurture those subscribers that are already in your database, nurture them more consistently by sending them something of value every week. And it doesn't have to be, I think when I say something of value, I think people are going to get freaked out that they have to be like actionable, valuable every week. I think the value can be just showing up and being helpful and being empathetic and just telling a story. It doesn't have to be, I've got to give them 10 tips for something, every week. It doesn't have to be that at all. There's
an awesome brand that I highly recommend any e-commerce, retail, marketing type person subscribes to. And it's a brand called Chubbys Shorts. And Chubbys' whole brand, we use them in so many examples because they just do it so well. Their whole brand is, they're kind of like short, like retro short shorts for men, but they also have brought out a women's range, but very kind of 70s style Hawaiian prints. Like there's a specific market for these kinds of shorts. But their brand is all about, we are for the weekend, because you're not going to be wearing these shorts to work. And even though
But you could now.
Probably, because you're all working from home.
Exactly. Every day's the weekend.
Every day's the weekend at home. As long as you've got the nice shirt on top. We were just laughing that I have yoga pants on underneath and the shirt.
Exactly.
But Chubbys just have this way of making email fun. So even though they're product-based emails, there's always some fun anecdote in there. Or there's like a recipe for barbecue marinade, or just some random thing in addition to product. But every time, like, I always want to open their emails because they're fun. And that's their whole brand.
And they're all about the weekend.
All about the weekend. They send them out on Friday.
Perfect.
So it's all about the weekend.
that is great. I love it.
So I highly recommend signing up to Chubbys. They do a very, very good job.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And I think that's, for your listeners, and what could you do in a similar vein? To be a bit more fun, be a bit more engaging, be you, be your brand. Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe your brand isn't fun, although, I feel like every brand should be a little bit fun. But I do find it's like these COVID messages, and I think that's maybe why that Mexico one has resonated. I hate that word, but it's why I love it so much that I'm telling you about it. And I just searched through my junk mail to find it. Is that it's like, oh my God, you just did this with some panache. Like you are you're a fun brand. You're all about margaritas and drink. And now I want a margarita. Like you made me want what you sell. In a really fun way, but you gave me the information that you needed to give me as well.
Exactly.
So that's like the gold, isn't it?
Exactly. That's the 100%.
And they've got the empathy in there that you've talked about. Like the empathy is there.
And like people are, exactly. People are dealing with exactly the same thing. We've heard this message so many times. We're all like, even my daughter's band rehearsal yesterday morning, seriously, they put the band chairs 1.5 meters apart and then took a photo of it. So all the parents in the WhatsApp group were like, see, we're sitting up. Seriously, okay. We get it. And I think that was nice that they go, okay, you've heard this. We know you know this. But here's, here's what else we're doing to help you.
Okay. So let me just quickly recap. Your top tips right now is 1, keep marketing.
Yes. With empathy.
With empathy. That was number 2. With empathy.
But also if you don't have anything to say about COVID-19, or if it's irrelevant to your business, just don't say anything about it. Really.
Just don't. We've heard it all before. Really. from 45 other people today.
Exactly. And don't tell us what you're doing, because that's not really relevant. What could you do to us to make, if you do food delivery, awesome. If you do, what could you do that helps us right now? I think that's good. Keep marketing. Don't stop marketing, but also take the time to take the slowdown to look long term. Look long term to building out your understanding of your customers, and to building out a database of something that you own on your own platform. So building out your email database, showing up consistently, writing them a letter consistently, and building that community on your own platform, not on Facebook or LinkedIn or Insta or wherever you are.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, now I hear you told me that you have a great freebie on customer.
Yeah. It's on actionable buyer personas. So
buyer personas. That's what I knew. I was going to say customer persona, but I knew there was another word.
It's a very B2B way of saying it.
Isn't it?
But it is. I know. Sorry. It is. But it's a process for exactly what I mentioned about how to do customer interviews. So it's like,
awesome.
It's about interviewing. It's a little workbook about interviewing internal stakeholders if you need to, doing a customer survey, and then running some customer interviews. So it's a little workbook on that.
And where can we grab that?
It's on the website on brightinbound.com.au/actionable buyer personas. So the links, I'm sure
we'll put a link in the show notes.
Put a link somewhere in the show notes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
No problem. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that. It's highly relevant right now, because the big question people are having is, should I be marketing right now? Yeah. And my answer to that is yes. Your answer to that is yes, as long as you follow just a few guidelines, and I think we're going to be okay. I actually think that, if anything, e-commerce sales especially are going to go up, because if everybody is like, my husband works for a tech company in North Sydney. They have 5,000 people in their building, all working from home till April 15th. So there's a lot of internet scrolling going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of internet shopping going to be happening very, very shortly.
Absolutely.
So now is the time to get your brand in front of those customers so they don't forget about you.
No, exactly.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing, Sarah.
No, it's been a fun chat. I've enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selinaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.